There's this incredible, explosive energy right now around starting a business, but it's running headfirst into this massive wall of fear. So today, we're going to break down that tension, the big dreams versus the even bigger fears, using some fascinating new data from QuickBooks and smart strategies from Observer. First, just look at this number, 94%. That is the huge year-over-year increase in Americans who are planning to start their own business. This isn't just a little bump. It's a seismic shift in how people think about their careers. So what on earth is fueling this fire?
All right, section 1, the entrepreneurial boom. Let's really dig into the why behind this massive surge.
And if you're wondering what that 94% jump actually looks like, here it is. 1 out of every 3 adults in the US is making plans to become their own boss next year. This isn't some niche thing anymore, right? This is a full-blown mainstream movement. The dream of entrepreneurship has pretty much gone viral. So what's the real motivation here? Well, it's not just about passion projects. According to the research, starting a business is now the #1 strategy for building wealth in America. It's beating out getting a traditional job, saving money, even investing. It's now seen as the most direct path to financial security. And this chart, wow, this really shows you who's leading the charge. Just look at Gen Z, a staggering 43% plan to start a business. For these younger generations, entrepreneurship isn't some quirky alternative path. No way. It's quickly becoming the default path for earning a living and building a future. Okay, so everyone has this incredible ambition, but just as this wave is cresting, it slams into a wall. Which brings us to section 2, the Great Barrier. And this is where the dream gets a very harsh reality check, and it's all about money. So what's holding all these potential founders back? Well, the answer couldn't be clearer. 47%, that's nearly half of everyone with an idea, points to the exact same obstacle, the cost.
But here's the crazy part. This is where perception is fueling the fear. See, aspiring founders think they need, on average, $28,000 to get started. But the data from people who've actually done it shows the median startup cost is way lower, less than half of that at just $12,000. This huge gap between what people believe and what's real is just paralyzing. And that perception gap, it has very real consequences. You can see the fallout right here on this chart. Only 13% of people who want to start a business feel like they actually have the money to pull it off. The vast majority feel totally underfunded and unprepared to take that leap, which is exactly why so many amazing ideas just die on the vine.
So the dream is huge, but the financial fear is even bigger. It really feels like an impossible catch-22. But what if there's a way to de-risk the entire process? Well, that brings us to section 3, the smart shortcut, validation.
This is the question, right? This is what everyone's asking. If you don't have thousands of dollars sitting around to burn, how do you even begin? How do you test out your idea without betting the farm? The answer is you have to change the way you think about starting.
This right here is the key, validation. It's a process. It's about getting real proof that your idea has legs, that actual people will pay you for it, before you spend months or years and a ton of money building out the perfect final product. It's all about replacing guesswork with cold, hard evidence. Okay, think of it like this. The old way to do a startup was to spend all your time and money building a giant rocket ship in your garage, and only then would you go out and try to sell tickets. The new way, the validated approach, flips that script completely. You go out and sell the tickets first. Once you know you have paying passengers who are excited to go where you're going, then you build a rocket. So, how do you actually go out and sell those tickets? Let's get into it. Section 4, your first low-risk practical steps. You can really boil this whole thing down to 3 simple, powerful actions. First, find a small group of people who are in your target market and just talk to them. Second, create a super simple preview of your idea, what some people call a proof of concept. And third, the most important part, ask them to buy it with a pre-order. That's it. And look, when we say simple preview, we mean really simple. It can be a Google Doc explaining the idea, a blog post, maybe a quick explainer video you shoot on your phone. The point isn't to build the final polished thing. It's just to create something, anything, that's just enough to show people the value you plan to deliver. And here's the good news. Doing this is easier today than it has ever been, thanks to all the new tools we have. Over 60% of new founders are planning to use AI to help with things like market research, brainstorming, or even creating a quick logo.
These tools can basically act as your virtual co-founder, making these first steps way faster and cheaper than you'd think.
So let's bring this all home. That $28,000 figure that stops so many people? It's a ghost. It's not real. Your idea doesn't need a huge pile of cash to get started. It just needs validation. And validation begins with something incredibly simple and human, a conversation. So the only question left is, who will be your first?